Hey there, Internet Drifters. It's Izanami-kun, and I'm here with a new kind of play-and-write. And this is going to be based on the Hardmode Bandits thing. Yesterday we did the very first episode of a Hardmode Bandits VFES sort of colony that will probably end up dying. So don't get too attached to these characters. And what I'm going to do is kind of write a little bit about these people. Maybe make the story that brought them together. I'm not really sure. We're kind of freestyling this one a little bit because we have some wiggle room amidst the normal stuff. So first and foremost, we have Kel, which he's first and foremost because he's the oldest. He's the father of Shaw. And out of all of them, he was the one that was most likely to succeed at the colony life. I mean, he is a colony settler. I don't think that he wanted to be part of a criminal thing. He had to have been sort of coerced into it, right? And because we watched him have a mental break where he decided he was going to be a wild man, obviously he didn't really sit right with the whole criminal mentality. Whatever they did, he just couldn't handle trying to be civilized after that. Now we're going to try to convince him otherwise, because I think we could probably still get him back, hopefully, if the game lets us, because he's got all these wonderful skills and we could really use him. We could really use his ability, but mentally speaking, being a wild man might actually be the best ending for him. I don't know. I don't know what they did, but he's really good with plants, medical, and he really likes construction, mining, and cooking. I'm not sure what that doesn't really on its own lead to anything, so we'll look at his daughter next. And so she really likes mining. Maybe it was a mining job. And she really likes social. And she was a child spy and a geologist. Whatever they did, and I'm just now seeing this. Whatever they did, they all came from the same planet. They've all only got one difference between their age and what I believe is their total age, it's all 1 year difference. Which, as I interpret how those go, I haven't looked it up to see if I'm right or not, but as I interpret it, that means that they've all spent exactly 1 year maximum in cryosleep. So whatever they did on the planet that we're on, and went up into a ship, a passing ship or something, because like 1 year, that's not enough time to get to another planet. There's no way. Then we have Squint. Maya Carey, which reminds me of Mariah Carey. Very strange. So piecing this together so far, we've got Kel, who was a colony settler, and his daughter Shaw, who was a child spy and then turned into a geologist. So she was a child spy while she was being raised by Kel, I guess, or maybe she was taken from him, or maybe she went with her mother and that's what they did. Yes. She did not live with her father. She lived with her mother as a child spy, and she went with geologist. And I could see how, as a child spy, she may run into Squint as a wreckage explorer. Just I'm sure that that makes sense. If she's a child spy trying to spy on resistance groups or groups of people that are savage or whatever, she may come across an area where there are wreckage explorers, which I guess is, you know, people exploring wreckages and kind of like junkyard partsy stuff. And then there's Danny Boy, which I named him Danny Boy. He was originally just called Daniel, which I thought was just too unimaginative to continue. He technically still is a child. I don't know what's going to happen when he ages another year and becomes a quote-unquote adult, which I don't know if that happens at 19 or what, but he is already addicted to Go Juice. And he was a child spy. So obviously, Danny Boy and Shaw are they're affiliated through this child spy network. And he's not really good at anything. Not particularly. He's decent at social. This must have been one of those things where most of the people were playing distractions or something. Because like the social, I feel like the two of them must have been running something. And then he's got this, or she's got this huge social. Like it seems like there was a lot of subterfuge going on. But let's bring in the Kingpin. So now here's the Kingpin, Barris BD, Demir Satan. Or Demir Satan. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but I'm even more glad that we didn't bring him with a name like that. I didn't really see that. So his social is off the fucking charts. So they must have had... whatever criminal activity they did, it was really heavy on social. Probably lots of lying, lots of convincing people, lots of distracting people. And poor Kel, he's not very social, so he would have had to have had a completely different job. And I think maybe his job was physically breaking into a vault somewhere. And the rest of them may have been charged with stealthily getting it out. But they left BD behind, right? They left BD behind, and I'm gonna say because he had the highest social, he must have been the one that was, you know, when everything really gets fucked up, it's his job to be the big distraction. Like maybe there was a ball. In my head I keep imagining that there was some like dance ball party thing, and they're like, all the rest of them, most of them are kind of just doing the spy thing around the dancing stuff and trying to keep everybody from noticing any of the blasts or whatever. So they like drop glasses or make loud exclamations whenever he's supposed to be, you know, swinging the pickaxe. And then they break in and, you know, Shaw, Squint, and what's your name? Danny Boy, right. And Danny Boy, they go to pick up the stuff from the vault, and then it's BD's job to be their escape man, you know, to keep everybody busy without raising any suspicion. I mean, BD might still be wherever they're at, you know, wherever they were at. BD might still be there. Not just that, but BD may not have gotten caught. I mean, he's got a 13 in social. He might have been able to work it out to where nobody even suspected him as being part of it. Wouldn't that be interesting? I think it had to have been BD's idea. Like, his social's so high, he could have easily convinced people, hey, let's do this. But then he didn't end up getting any of the stuff. So, joke's on him. So we're going to come over here and say BD, Shaw, and what was this, Danny Boy? They met through a child spy agency. And what I mean by that is a faction that maybe they had a spy colony. There we go. A faction that had a spy colony to develop and deploy child spies. So obviously you have to train them, you know, to make sure that they know what they're supposed to do and what to expect and how to respond if people find you out and all this good stuff. So they have a colony that's what they do. And then that colony also decides who's ready to go do what job. And I'm going to say that this is a faction that maybe they're not savage, but they're ferocious in that this is how people pay them back. Right? So maybe Kel really needed something from them, or maybe they had threatened Kel. And he didn't have anything to give except, oh, I have a young daughter. And so this faction's like, we'll take your daughter. We can train her to become a spy. And then we're good. We're even. You'll never hear or see us again. It's fine. Fair trade. And he's like, well, I don't really want to do that. But he didn't have a choice. I mean, he was a frightened child after all, so he didn't really have much of a choice. He was just like, okay, I guess this is what's happening. Nothing to be done about it. I don't know where her mother's at, but maybe her mother was part of the deal. Maybe not. I don't know that it really matters. So Squint, I'm going to say Squint was part of the same colony. Like, that would have been another necessity, to explore wreckages, to find new technologies. Like, this is a very specialized colony. Because all they do is criminal activity. Or not even criminal activity, but more development stuff. Like, they're in the trade of information. A wreckage explorer could easily lead you to new technologies. So I'm going to say Squint was part of the same colony in special exploration division. Shaw is 47, so I guess she got out of the child spy trade before any of the rest of them did, because she's the oldest aside from her father, obviously. Although I'm thinking that maybe it's possible she stayed with them, that she grew up into an adult and she was like, I'm going to choose geologist because now I'm not a child anymore. I'm not as useful as a spy because children are disarming, so it's easier for them to be spies. And she chose to be a geologist because she liked mining, because she remembered her father and all that other good stuff, and probably got back in contact with him and tried to, live a somewhat normal life, despite the fact that she was still kind of associated with this colony. Maybe he even came to live with her at that colony and was like, yeah, I mean, I could farm. Yeah, I could farm. I could cook. We could do some mining together. Maybe do a little bit of construction. We'll help. I'll help you with this if you still really like this colony. Because maybe they weren't terrible people. They were just really ferociously managed. And then one day, BD, the second oldest, of the child spies, BD decided, you know what? With my con artist mind and my con artist life, I have an idea. There's going to be a party. And it might have even been the colony, the spy camp colony to begin with that they did this on. Because this would have been a faction that nobody really liked anyway. So they would have had everybody against them to begin with. But maybe they had a meeting of several different factions that didn't hate that colony. And all their pack animals were safely stored away for everybody to enjoy the ball. And BD's like, dude, man, there's this one spot. That if you mined that wall, you could get to those animals. And then we could get all of that treasure. I think that's what happened. I'm going to come over here. BD had great idea. Colony through a sort of an ambassador ball. Because they need clients, right? You know, they need clients. They need people that need the information that they have. So that they have to have some allies. Allies visit from a few other factions. All the pack animals with loot stored in secure vault. But one wall could be mined out. And treasures stolen. And since we came down on a crash pod thing, I'm gonna say they have one of those pod launcher things. And so that's probably how they got away. Got away by using pod launcher. BD stayed, got no treasures, and he may not have gotten caught in any way. So he basically just screwed up their lives for no gain whatsoever. I guess that kind of assumes that they were all just kind of led into it, but maybe they thought, why would they have done it? Maybe they thought that they'd be able to start over somewhere else. Maybe they thought they were going to get launched into space. None of that explains why there's 1 year. Unless, of course, this happened in space. And then maybe the ball was in a neutral location in space. And everybody went to go in space for the ball. I mean, it would have needed to be planned out in advance. And maybe to preserve these people long enough to make sure that they would absolutely be alive so that nobody else had to be trained or taught whatever they needed to know. Maybe they were just shot up there and been like, you're going to stay asleep for, 9 months to a year. And then you'll be defrosted so that you can carry out this important task of overseeing this ball and entertaining these people to get us more clients, or at least to retain the ones we have, to make them happy in some way, and kind of prime them for wanting information, because they would have known a lot about the information. And I don't know why Kel would go up there. Maybe Kel was supposed to be the cook. I'm going to say that. Kel was supposed to be cook on spaceship, feed people at the ball, BD, Shaw, and Danny Boy were equipped with information teasers to encourage clients to request services and or information at a price. And Squint, she was probably just the nurse, was there as nurse in case of emergencies. Whoops. Nursing. There were probably others. I don't think they would have left this important task up to just 5 people. There must have been other people. But we'll never know. We'll never know who those people are. Or were. Well, that's enough for this one. I'm not really sure how this will go in the future. We'll figure some of these things out as we go. Like if you liked the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Check me out on Patreon. Check out my website, izanamakun.com, and I will see you guys in the next video.